Hi you guys, welcome back to Mayfield Ranch. My name's Katie and today I'm going to take you on a quick tour of the garden and give you an update. So come on along. Okay guys, let me show you what's going on in the garden. Gary and I have been spending all of our time over at our rental house getting that ready to get rented out. We had tenants that moved out. It's a complete mess. It's a ton of work. So that's what we've been spending our time on. And unfortunately, I've neglected the garden. So let me show you what it looks like. We've got some stuff out here to harvest and I definitely have some stuff that needs some attention. Let me just show you what it's looking like this week. So we've got this cherry tomato here on the left and our cantaloupes growing up on that cattle panel. A bunch of peppers. These plants are just loaded with peppers. So I definitely got to get these harvested as soon as I can because it looks like we've got a lot of things ready to harvest. Some chili peppers, hot peppers, bunch of Anaheim peppers. I've got bell peppers out here that are ready and then some super hots back here. So everything's looking pretty healthy. That's good. We didn't have any watering issues or anything over the past week. Got these little bean plants I planted. And then my mystery peppers that are not orange habaneros. Got that spaghetti squash and it's looking pretty good. I mean, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It has grown over here into the okra. I was trying to keep it all trellised up, but I'm just going to let it be. It's pretty well established. Speaking of okra, I've got okra out here to harvest that I've let go too long, so I'm sure it's going to be woody. Tomatoes are growing. They're still not loaded up with tomatoes though, so we'll see how this works out this season. We've got this one little ground cherry and our basil is just bolted, but that's fine for the honeybees. This is the bed that I weeded. That spinach is doing really well. This cherry tomato does look like it's going to produce. It is a different variety than I've typically grown, but it does look like it's getting tomatoes on it now. My Delicata Squash has weeds in it, but it's producing squash. So I think one of the best parts of the garden out here are these rattlesnake green beans. They're doing so well. They're one of my favorites. They're growing up over this arched trellis. They've got about a foot or so to go before they hit that other fence. And we've got beans. So if you haven't grown these before, look at the color variation, and that's how you can tell that they're ready to harvest. If you haven't grown these rattlesnake green beans before, you absolutely should. They're my favorite, so easy to grow and really good. So in comparison to those green beans, this garden bed is not doing so great. We've got some purple basil. I put that little eggplant in there. Nothing's really happening. We've got tomatoes that we had extra that are planted out here. We'll see if they can produce for us. Back to our container garden. Things are going pretty well out here. Everything looks pretty good. Here's an update on our lemon cucumber that I planted. It's doing well. We've got one little plant here, super hot red death spiral pepper. So we've got peppers on that. Now these tomatoes are doing fantastic. They're loaded with tomatoes, so that's good. These ones in pots seem to just be outperforming my raised bed. Let's see what we have here. We have another lemon cucumber that I planted here in one of these garden boxes and some cilantro. So we'll head on over to our backyard garden. Our roses are growing out of control. It's kind of hard to even get through this gate, but they look good, so that's all that matters. All right, our squash is doing really, really well. That's Delicata Squash, butternut squash growing up over the arch. Our Armenian cucumbers in the middle, starting to grow up on that trellis, and then a bunch of peppers, a couple tomatoes in pots, and more lemon cucumber. Let's look at this butternut squash. It's loaded up with butternut squash, so that's doing really well. I'm pretty happy about it. I really like that plant. Of course, we like to eat the Delicata squash, so we've got that planted everywhere. This garden bed is just full of peppers, and it's just completely taken over. Growing well, doing well. These tomatoes are kind of hit and miss. We definitely had some challenges with them. I'll show you this one that I trimmed. That one's looking pretty good, so I just have to tackle the others, and maybe we'll be okay. Here's a cucumber here in this garden bed. And then those are those green beans I planted. So we'll see if those grow and how they do. They're looking pretty healthy. I trimmed those tomatoes. I just have to tie them up. And then we've got our watermelon here that looks like it's doing well. and then a bed of peppers. So all of these are peppers, mostly bell peppers and jalapenos. And then this next garden bed over is a bunch of peppers. Now the one that's doing well, and it's new for me this year, is this Buena Mulata. I have a couple of them. I also have one in a pot. They're just performing really, really well. So I'll definitely grow those again next year. These are the pink banana squash I planted. And then I planted these melons here in the back, hoping they'll grow up kind of along the side and utilize this bed space here, since our ground garden was somewhat of a failure this year. More cherry tomatoes growing here. Another cherry tomato in that pot. And I also put some lemon cucumbers down there to hopefully grow on the trellis. Oh, there's little Remy. He's so cute. All right, you guys, thanks for hanging out with me on this garden tour. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you're not already subscribed, please be sure to do so and hit that notification bell so you're alerted when we release new videos.